All right, peace and blessings, everybody. This is BroYosef. I'm back with another video. And in this video here, we're gonna go in a little deeper on the other video I did, my last video I did, which was how to prepare yourself for what's to come in this world. So this is gonna be a part two, and I'm gonna go in a little bit more information on that in that video about that video. All right. But before I start the video, I wanna say something about the emails I've been getting for some reason really heavily lately, and the messages I've been getting about people who telling me they resonate with me and they feel like they know me from somewhere, right? Well, I've gotten readings in the past from very powerful psychic readers and tarot readers who all told me that they saw my energy in Egypt, right? And it's true. I've had past life experiences multiple times when I've seen myself in Egypt, not just Egypt, but Atlantis, right? And I shared the Atlantis vision in my video I did about um, past lives and past life regression. So, you know, I used to be a priest in Egypt, but I was never a high priest, right? I was a priest in Egypt, but I wasn't a high priest. So I made it up to the priesthood in Egypt in one of my past lives, and I remember actually how the language sounded in Egypt. And if you guys hear some stuff in the background, that's my daughter. She, anybody who got children know you got to keep the kids busy while you try to do stuff, right? But so forgive me if she busts in here or makes noise or anything. But with that being said, in Egypt, the priesthood was very powerful, and you can choose whether you want to be a priest or a high priest. And if you became a high priest, you had to kind of stay in Egypt and stay around the royalty. The high priests were not really allowed to leave Egypt, right? They had to stay around Egypt. They couldn't really leave the kingdom unless the royalty traveled somewhere and the high priest would go with them. But the priests could leave. They could be teachers, and you couldn't be a teacher until you was 40 in Egypt, right? When you turn 40, you could become a teacher in Egypt. And I was a teacher. I was a high priest, and a lot of you guys, believe it or not, were my students. And this is why my voice resonates with a lot of you guys and my energy, because a lot of y'all, a lot of y'all soul remember me, right? A lot of y'all souls are just as old as mine, and a lot of y'all remember me, right? And I actually remember how I sounded in a past life, and I sound the exact same way I sound now with my voice. But of course, I look totally different, right? And it was very interesting, right? So, just like one of my teachers told me, the reason why I resonate with him so heavy is because he was one of my teachers in a past life. It's the same thing with me, right? And some of y'all, the reason why some of y'all resonate with me more than others is because I was actually y'all teacher in another life, right? Doesn't mean I'm about to start this secret school and start just teaching a bunch of people. I'm just telling y'all what it is, right? So, with that being said, I want you guys to understand that there's even people out there like Bobby Hemmett who resonate with a lot of people. And the reason why people resonate with Bobby Hemmett so much because Bobby Hemmett was a high priest, right, in Egypt back in the day, right? He was part of the priesthood. So when you hear yourself or see yourself or feel yourself resonating with a certain person, it's for a reason. Okay, that's for a specific reason. All right, so let's go into the video. And usually that reason is based on past life. Even if you meet somebody that's not spiritual, like a boyfriend or girlfriend, or even your best friend, and you feel like you really resonate with this person, it's because your souls recognize each other more than your physical body does. All right. So that's something just for y'all to keep in mind. So to get into the video, the first thing I want to really explain to you guys is that yes, we are living in the last days. Okay. This right now is the last days, right? And to be honest with you guys, the last days actually started during the civil rights movement, right? When the flower generation started to blossom, right? The flower generation started to blossom, which is really like the first genre of children that came down here who was going to grow up and start fighting against the government, right? So that's the whole hippie movement. That's the civil rights movement. All these people from different cultures and colors that was all fighting against the system, right? Because the system loves to keep us all separated. That's how they win. That's how they win. So, um, with that being said, the civil rights movement actually started the end of the world, and that's a fact, right? And the government knew it, right? And because they knew it, they thought that the Messiah was going to appear during that time, right? They thought that the Messiah was actually going to appear during that time, but they messed up on the cycle. They forgot how cycles go. They didn't forget, but they just want to be prepared, right? They don't. They knew how cycle go, but they know when the Messiah was going to pop up, right? And that's something we're going to talk about at the end of this video, the Messiah coming. Is there a Messiah coming, or is the Messiah not coming? Is there even a Messiah, somebody that's going to come, right? We're going to talk about that at the end of this video, so stay tuned. So they were afraid, so they started COINTELPRO, right? So, and we'll get into that also at the end of the video. So the last days started during the civil rights movement era. And right now, 2020 is the total end of that cycle, right? The end of the world actually started, or the last days actually started during the civil rights movement. And now the last days are ending around 2012, right? Around 2012. What's the exact date, BroYosef? Don't know. But I know when 2020 hits, it's the end of the cycle, right? It's the end of that period, right? It's the end of the last days. And whatever's going to come forth and whatever's supposed to come forth is going to actually start to come forth and transform during that time, okay? So I really want you guys to understand that. So when I say we're living in the last days, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is we're living in a time where the end of the world is coming, right? Not the planet, okay? The planet is never going to end. The planet is going to transform, right? For some of y'all, you know, it's going to transform for some of y'all. Some people are going to be stuck right here, right? They're going to be stuck still in a third dimensional state. Some people's consciousnesses are going to expand and grow, and they're going to evolve to another dimension. That's a fact. But some people are actually going to be stuck right here. So the planet will never end. I want y'all to understand that. So we're not talking about destruction as far as the planet blowing up or anything. We're talking about from the aspect of the society and the system in which you live is coming to an end. And the people who run that system, they know about it. They know the system is coming to an end. And it scares them, right? Actually, their time is already up. This is why they're going out with a bang, right? And they know their time is up, but they're trying to, you just can't, just like I talked about in my extraterrestrial video, why certain aliens and extraterrestrials haven't been revealed yet, it's because you just can't change the system tomorrow. You have to slowly and gradually pull people into what's going to happen in the system, right? You have to slowly get them prepared and ready for what's going to happen, okay? Or what's coming. So if you guys pay attention to the TV shows and the movies, they're telling you guys a lot of stuff. People just ain't paying attention, all right? So that's what we're talking about. It's time for the planet to evolve, and the children of Mother Earth will evolve with her, right? The children, Mother Earth is everybody's mama, right? You can't even do magic without Mother Earth. She's involved in everything, right? The 5 elements is Mother Earth. They all come from Mother Earth. So you can't even do magic without having the 5 elements. And if you're ever doing magic and you're not dealing with the 5 elements, then that magic is not all the way pure, right? You need to have the elements involved. Even the 4 elements. Some magical systems use 4 elements, some use 5, and then some use beyond that. But you must have elements involved, at least 4, to have things manifest into the 3rd dimension. That's just how it goes down here, right? So I really want you guys to understand that. The next thing I want to say is, I want you guys to understand, the next thing I want you guys to understand is that they're getting ready to terraform. They're trying to terraform the earth. They're trying to change Terra. They're trying to change the earth. Terra is the earth. So they're trying to change the earth. They're trying to form the earth into what they want. And how are they doing this? They're doing this by way of 5G technology, right, which is coming. And for anybody who knows me for the past 5 years, they know I've been talking about this shit is coming, right? I'm going to tell you about something else, too, that's coming that people don't understand called universal basic income. We're going to get into that a little later. But I've been telling people for years that 5G is coming to change the world, right? 5G is coming, and when it gets here, it's going to be used as a weapon to a certain extent, because they're going to literally be able to control the nanonites that's being put in your water right now, that's being put in your food, right? The majority, about 80% of the food right now, I don't care if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, right? Some of the fruits and vegetables don't even have seeds in them. And for anybody that's a vegan or a vegetarian that think that you can eat a seedless grape and be a vegetarian, well, you need to understand God didn't produce no fruits without a seed. So how are you going to eat a seedless grape just because it say organic seedless grapes? It don't even make sense. It don't even make sense. Like, how can a grape be organic, but it don't got no seeds in it? How can a watermelon be organic with no seeds? And all the seeds, for those 80 babies and later, they remember watermelon used to have black seeds in them. Now watermelon got white seeds. So all the vegetarians and vegans out there, you need to really think about what's going on. So you need to supplement. And we're going to get more into that later too, the vegans and the vegetarians. But you need to supplement that with taking minerals, right? And vitamins. You need to make sure you're getting, especially your minerals. We talk about vitamins all day, but people don't get their minerals, right? Very, very important, especially for the babies. You got to give them their minerals, right? So 5G technology is something that they're using right now to actually control things, right? They're using to control the weather right now with HARP, the HARP system, HAARP, I believe it's spelled. That's how they spell it, HAARP, HARP. And you can go look that up. Different countries have their own HARP system. They have their own weather technology system, right? Which Hurricane Katrina was a victim of, right? They was testing on Hurricane Katrina because they can do that. So for all the people who's living on the coast, I recommend that in the next 5 years, you really think about moving away from the coast, right? I remember one time I went to Savannah, Georgia. It was the most beautiful place. Like I love Savannah, Georgia. And I saw it. I said, "Wow, this is really beautiful." Even what's that part of South Carolina on the coast there? Myrtle Beach, really nice. But as beautiful as these places was, I knew that I would never live on the coast, that far to the coast, because for some reason every year we're getting hit with a hurricane on the coast, and just a matter of time before something happens in California, earthquake, they get hit with a tsunami. It's coming. I feel the energy building up, right? I feel the energy building up. Eventually, California gonna get hit with something. The West Coast gonna get hit with something. I feel the energy over there. So living on any coast, even apparently down in the South where Hurricane Katrina happened, in New Orleans, anywhere you live in any state, even Florida, right? You gotta really think about in the next few years moving away from the coast, because what's gonna happen is the water is gonna start rising up to the coast, and it's gonna be damaged every year. For the past 5 years, we had a hurricane. I don't care if it's a category 2, category 3, category 5. It's going to keep happening, right? People need to really think about what's happening, right? Puerto Rico just went through that real bad, right? So we got to really understand what's getting ready to happen on this planet. And so our brother Yusuf recommends that you guys do not live too close. Even New York City got hit with a hurricane a few years ago. Think about that for a second. New York City got hit with a category 2 hurricane a few years ago. Living on the coast is not wise for the future. And I know some of y'all probably already established on the coast and you have to live there. Okay, brother Yusuf, understand. I'm just giving y'all information, right? I'm not telling y'all what y'all better do. I'm just telling y'all what y'all should do is to think about that, right? So that's something people need to think about. 5G technology is being used and mixed with nanonite technology, right? Nanonites is microscopic computers that can pretty much do anything, right? They're programmed to act just like cells in the body. They're microscopic and you won't even see them, right? They can be crawling on your skin, be inside your body. And what they do is they send a signal back to artificial intelligence, the big computer, whatever people want to call it, that's going to basically, once they get that information back, it feeds the artificial intelligence and it gets smarter. It knows exactly who you are. So if your name Johnny, it knows how many heartbeats Johnny is having a day. It knows your blood pressure. It knows everything about you, right? This is how their God is going to be in everything, right? Their God is going to be in everything. So if you don't have your junk DNA activated, certain aspects of your junk DNA activated, then you're going to be in trouble. I'm just going to keep it real. If certain aspects of your junk DNA is activated by way of spiritual work, right? The junk DNA is spiritual DNA, right? That they call junk DNA because they don't want you to know what it is, right? But it's spiritual DNA. If you have that activated by way of spiritual work, working with your energy body, doing the stuff I'm telling y'all to do, mudras, meditation, yoga, working with your ancestors, which also goes into your DNA, right? That's one way to activate your junk DNA, working with your ancestors, right? So if you guys are doing all these things, working with your ancestors, and you're activating your junk DNA, doing the energy work, when they send out these frequencies and these nanonites to mess with your DNA, it's not going to affect you as much, right? It will not affect you as much. And a lot of people, depending on how advanced you are, it won't affect you at all because the junk DNA is there and it's more advanced than the nanonite technology, and it's there to actually help you and block a lot of this stuff that they're trying to do to you. Okay, I want you guys to understand that. So you have to do the work, right? You have to do the spiritual work. So it's not always about just eating healthy. That's good, right, for the body. But your soul got to be right. Your spirit got to be right. And you got to be able to activate certain aspects of your DNA by doing work, doing the energy work, right? So one way that you guys another thing you guys can do to get the nanonites out of your body is do a activated charcoal cleanse at least once every 2 weeks. And the reason why I say once every 2 weeks is because you don't want to overdo the activated charcoal, because it can pull the good stuff out of your body. Okay, so you got to be aware of that, and really think about what's going on with that. Okay, so use the activated charcoal once every 2 weeks. Don't do it every day, because you're gonna get sick, because it's designed to pull things out of your body. So it literally can pull the nanonites out of your body, literally, right? And for those who take vaccinations and they don't want to take a vaccination, the same day you take the vaccination, go home and take some activated charcoal. It will pull the vaccination out of your body, because it takes time for the vaccination to settle. Go home, take some activated charcoal, and the vaccination will be pulled out of your body if you have to take it, or if one of your children have to take it, right? Get them a little glass of activated charcoal, right? I don't recommend, I mean, the pills are okay. They got little activated charcoal pills. I recommend getting the actual powder, taking a spoonful of it in an 8-ounce glass of water, or even taking like a bottle of water. This is a dairy powder. You can fill one of these up with activated charcoal. You don't got to worry about it being plastic, because the activated charcoal will pull all the toxins and metals out of the body, right? Put a spoonful of that, or a capful. You can even take one of these caps right here and, fill it up with activated charcoal. Because some people like it thicker than others, right? Fill that up with activated charcoal and shake that up real good. Drink it. It don't even taste like nothing. So take that and we'll pull the toxins and metal out of your body, right? Also, you can wear shungite. Shungite stone is a very powerful stone, and it will actually block the 5G radiation. So if some of y'all live near the towers that they're building, the 5G towers, you can actually take the shungite and it will block the radiation from coming at you, okay? So you can keep it in your pocket. I recommend wearing it around your neck, or wearing like a ring, or a shungite bracelet or something, and y'all will be fine, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is the Real ID Act. I know I kind of touched on this lightly. What's going to happen is, if y'all notice, we talking about things from different levels: mental, physical, spiritual, right? Levels. So back to the physical level, the Real ID Act is basically an act that they passed that has to be in place by 2020, and every state must comply with it, right? And what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to fly, travel, go into any government offices without having an ID that is stamped by the government. And this ID will also have face scanning. They will connect it with your fingerprints and face scanning. So they know exactly who you are and where you are. This is all going into a database system. So artificial intelligence, when you're walking down the street, the cameras can pick you up and know exactly who you are, right? They can know exactly who you are. This is why and that's what the Real ID Act in a short synopsis really is. It is really just an act that they passed to try to put more of a leash around your neck, right? And this is why I recommend people being dual citizens, right? You can still be an American citizen, but at the same time, you must be the citizen of something else. So you can stand on your square and stand up for yourself and your family in a way that they can't touch you, because you already put things on the record and said who you was before they even came out with the law. So once the law passes, and some of y'all don't have a nationality, right? That's what it is at the end of the day. You must have a nationality. And no, BroYosef is not a Moor, but at the same time, I am a Moor. You know what I'm saying? So I know some of that. What do you mean by that? I know some of y'all Moors are probably like, what are you talking about, brother? So I recommend that you guys get into some type of nationality. I just consider myself indigenous, right? There's so many aspects of what could be considered indigenous, right? So some of you guys need to claim that on the record, and don't ask BroYosef about what everything you need to do this, because all you guys gotta do is claim your nationality, type it into YouTube, and start looking up people that can help you with your nationality. And you guys need to claim that to protect yourself, because I think it's October 1st, 2020 is when everything is going to be in stone. And they're also pushing the 2020 census behind this, because they want to put you, once again, a leash around your neck. And all the birth certificates after 2020 will actually have a race on it, right? Like, I'm looking at my daughter's birth certificate right now, and they don't put a race on a birth certificate. Maybe in different states they do. They'll say everything else and they don't say the race, because whatever you say you are, and the government knows this, is what you are, right? Whatever you say you are is what you are. So you have a right to nationality, according to the Declaration of Human Rights. People just don't know they have a right to nationality, right? So being that you have a right to nationality, you have to claim that, or it's going to be taken from you. Of course, they don't put this stuff on YouTube, and well, they do put it on YouTube. They don't put this stuff on national news so you guys can know what it is. They don't want, because they don't want you to know, but they do put it out there. But it's your job to find out what it is, okay? Because ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? Brother Yusuf don't just study metaphysics. I'm a big law studier too. I study law, right? I study law. So what I'm really saying is you guys must have a trust in place to protect your family's identity. And on that trust, you must claim who you are, put the articles of the trust on record, and claim and file that so that it can be established before October 2020, who you are, and they will know who you are. Now, when you walk into court and you say you black, you don't have to say you black. You can say that I'm this or I'm that. I don't care if you're from Africa. Just be foreign from the United States, and let that person be separate, right? Because it's a way you can tie it all in together. But you can still have a driver's license, you can still have a birth certificate, still do all this stuff, but you can also have a private side, right? And I say this stuff a lot, people don't listen, but you can have a private side that will protect you and your family from getting vaccinations, right? They've been wanting my daughter to get vaccinations for a long time, and I don't let her get vaccinations because we're indigenous. And Brother Yusuf don't just say that. I have my own tribe, right? I'm actually tribal. I have a tribe, and I have a whole nationality behind me that I created, right? And Brother Yusuf is not a black man, right? I say that sometimes. I know some people don't understand what I mean by indigenous. So I'll say, yeah, black people, but I don't mean that, right? Because I know some people's ignorant. They don't really know. And that's nothing against them, but they just don't know because they don't do the research. So I'll say black, but really I have a nationality and I'm indigenous. So people ask me what race am I or what nationality, I'm indigenous, right? I'm indigenous. So, and you guys can be indigenous, you guys can be anything as long as it's outside the jurisdiction of the United States. I know some of y'all are probably gonna say, well, I'm Jamaican and I'm, I'm from, the Caribbean islands. I'm from Belize. Well, you got to understand, these things right here are cultures, right? Just because you say you're from Belize or you're from Jamaica or you're from Trinidad doesn't mean that you're not black, right? To the court system. Because some people who say that still say they're black because Jamaican or Trinidadian, or if you're from Belize, it doesn't mean that that's a race, because that's not a race, right? Those things are actually cultures. So you can still be from Africa and be Jamaican, or be from Africa and be from Belize, but you're still considered black in America, right? Those things are your culture. So it's like a white person from New England and a white person from Scotland saying that they two different people. No, y'all the same race, but y'all just got two different cultures, right? Y'all all Europeans. So people need to understand what that means. Just because you from the Caribbean islands or from South America doesn't mean that you're not African, right? Or you don't have African blood. And when I say indigenous, I don't just mean in America, because melanated people are indigenous all over the planet. So you can claim anywhere just as long as it's foreign from the United States, right? That's very important. So I had to get all that out. That's what that is, all right? So become a dual citizen, right? You don't want to get all the way out the system, because y'all been working for years. Y'all still want to get everything that's owed to y'all, right? Remember also in the TV show American Gods, the man who is called Mr. World in American God, the man in American Gods who runs the technology gods, his name is Mr. World. So he is the system, right? He is the society that is trying to keep the old gods, put the old gods to sleep. Think about that. So when I say the world is your enemy, or the world is going to end, that's what we're talking about. So Mr. World is afraid of the new gods rising again. Excuse me, the old gods rising again. So I want y'all to watch that TV show. It's very important. So to get into the collider a little bit, the Hadron Collider is basically something where they try to recreate the Big Bang. Okay, they try to recreate the Big Bang, and what happened was they slammed these particles together and they ripped a hole in time and space, right? This thing is the biggest machine in the world, the Hadron Collider, right? And it collides these particles together, and when they did it, they know the Big Bang. Well, some of them know it. They just don't want to say it, that the world was never created by a Big Bang. That's just a theory, right? So they knew that, but they saying that because people don't know. People are slaves in their mind. So when they slam these particles together, it ripped a hole in time and space, and a particle from another dimension got into this reality. So dark matter is in every dimension, in every universe, but it's programmed in a way to create a certain reality in that reality. And because a part of that program from another reality came into this program, it changed our program to a certain extent, right? It changed our program. And the first major event that happened that people started to notice was the the Mandela effect, right? The Mandela effect was the first thing that started to happen that people noticed something was different. That's why they call the biggest changes in the world the Mandela effect, right? The Mandela effect is very important, and a lot of people need to really study and research that about what that's about. So that's what the collider is, right? Yeah, and y'all need to just research that. I can go do a whole video on the collider alone, but I'm trying to give a lot of information in this video. So that's what the collider is. It's just the biggest machine in the world that is, I think they said it's 27 kilometers long or something like that, and or 20 something kilometers long. And they're doing that. They ripped a hole in time and space to pull something from another dimension. And what they want to do is they want to take this dark matter and make weapons out of it. Remember, it's the fabric of the universe, which means it can be molded. So they're getting technology from extraterrestrials to learn how to make, weapons, right? So this is what they're doing with that. That's very important. So back to the veganism and the vegetarianism, right? I just want to really let you guys know, veganism and vegetarianism doesn't make you more spiritual, right? BroYosef will never talk down on veganism or vegetarianism. It is a good thing to do. I take my hat off to everybody that's a vegan or vegetarian. I don't do that, right? BroYosef was always eating meat. I've had times where I didn't eat meat for like a couple months, and that was for spiritual reasons, because that don't mean I was a vegan or vegetarian, right? It's because I had to do certain rituals, right? So I didn't eat meat for like, I think the longest I went without it was like 4 months, right? My wife was a vegetarian for 4 or 5 years. She was a vegetarian for a long time, and now she eats meat again, but she eats like fish and turkey, right? And chicken for the most part. It's two meats I recommend people stay away from, and that's pork and beef. If you're going to eat beef like twice a week or once a week. Because beef and pork, especially pork, you should never even eat pork or touch it, because it will literally kill you every time you eat it, right? So don't eat pork at all. Beef is something that don't eat it a lot, the red meat. And if you're going to eat this stuff, right? If you're going to eat meat, and vegetables, right? Because even the vegetables today are being sprayed with chemicals, and the vegetables have nanonites inside of them, right? So everything you're eating, even if you're a vegetarian, doesn't mean you're safe. They're putting nanonite technology in all the food, in all the water. They even have nanonite technology in the medicine now. So when you take the pill, they can actually see what the pill is doing in your body. Research and stuff is out there. So this is what they're doing. So even if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you need to understand that you're still not safe, right? Because they're still robbing you of minerals. If you're eating seedless grapes and you think that you're getting healthier, you're crazy. A seedless grape has no life force. If there's no seed in it, there's no life. So just because it says organic seedless, it doesn't mean that it's really organic, because what they do is they change the laws. And by law, they can say that something is organic. By law, they can say McDonald's sells 100% beef, because by law, you could say 30%. If you got 70% beef and 30% filler, you could say 100% beef. So they say 100% beef because by law, you can say that. It doesn't mean they telling the truth. Just like they changed high fructose syrup now to corn syrup. So they're being tricky with the words they use, and people are falling for it, right? We need to be very careful of that. So for all the vegans and vegetarians, keep going. Do what you do. BroYosef got no problem with that. I ain't got nothing against them. It's a healthy way to eat, right? And if you're eating meat, you should also take a lot of vegetables in. BroYosef takes, I fill one of these up every day with what is that stuff called? Chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll, right? I drink liquid chlorophyll every day and get that in my system, right? So if you're going to be taking vegetables and fruit, even make sure you're taking minerals, extra minerals and extra vitamins, all right? And I recommend trace mineral drops. Those are really good. So the next thing I want to talk about is the coming Christ, right? There is a man that's coming, or a woman. We don't know yet, So during the civil rights movement, they started something called the COINTELPRO, right? And they started the COINTELPRO, literally, you could research this, to stop the rise of a black messiah. They knew that somebody was coming towards the end of the time, in the end of the world, and they thought that the messiah was going to come back then. They miscalculated that. 2020, after 2020, I guarantee you're going to start to see somebody that's going to start to rise and show themselves. And a lot of us metaphysical teachers out here are actually like a John the Baptist to a degree for this person. We're talking a lot of the same knowledge this person is talking. So with that being said, I want you guys to understand that, yes, there is somebody coming, and they're going to come and change the world, right? And that person is already on earth. They just haven't shown themselves yet. They just haven't shown themselves yet. So I want you guys to understand that. I hope this video doesn't get cut short, because they tend to cut off around 30 minutes in. I got to fix that on my camera, you know. So, 'cause I know some of y'all want longer videos. So I just wanted to say that, right? There is a Messiah coming, and this Messiah will come to change the world, right? And transform the world for the better. And a lot of us are like his or her disciples, and we're talking a lot of same knowledge. So if you guys ever notice somebody in the future who come around and their voice is very alluring and they're talking a lot of stuff and you resonate with that person, it's because the person could be the Messiah. But I don't care what nobody but say. There is a person that's coming, and this person is alive on the planet right now. They just haven't revealed themselves yet. But the time will come when they will reveal themselves. And then you would know that we're definitely in a new time and a new era, because the end of every cycle, a Messiah comes. That's a fact. And a lot of us are messiahs to a degree, right? So I just want to get on here and do this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I gave a lot of information away. You guys should be researching and studying. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, peace.